time now to review headlines on today's newspapers. Unfortunately, we don't have our ombudsman here, and Steve Ayorinde will be doing the honors.
Thank you very much, Jinx, and we'll start with this day on Sunday, the newspaper of record. The lead story says nationwide industrial action will spell doom for Nigeria. Federal government warns. And the three riders, also illuminate that story. Says NLC's 494,000 naira minimum wage demand unsustainable. Electricity, oil, maritime, judicial workers mobilize for labor's indefinite strike tomorrow. Construction workers give 21-day ultimatum. Says sector losing 52,000 jobs. This is where we are 1 year after the new administration. I think that it is not the best that between May 1st, which of course was the Workers' Day, till the 29th, which is the first anniversary of the new government, both the federal government and the labor unions couldn't agree on an ideal, a minimum wage. Yeah. Not even the head start that Edo State provided when Governor Obaseki declared that Edo workers will be getting 70,000 monthly, was going to help. Federal government is saying that the best it could do, as of today, is 60,000. And I see that a few stakeholders from the private sector are saying that if that is the best, we can live with it, but Labour is saying no way. 100% increase will not adequately address the more than 300 in some cases, 400 in other, instances, a rise in inflation, in the cost of electricity, in the cost, living cost, in the fuel cost, and everything. So this is where we are. If there's no solution in sight, it simply means that by tomorrow, hardship will return to the land. And I see that TUC and, almost all the Pengasin, all of them are queuing behind the NLC to say that we support what NLC is demanding from government.
But they're saying that, the 494,000 is unsustainable. They are, set
it's
to
unrealistic,
go unrealistic on different bases. But they're out tomorrow on strike if there's no meeting
by
point
midnight tonight.
by midnight tonight. And I've been reading the mood of the nation on social media and or whatnot. People are not very optimistic that Labour would stay strong with this negotiation, which is quite unfortunate, But I guess, like you said, Steve, if they don't start with this high demand, I mean, the negotiation would, fall flat.
Yeah. I mean, even with this high demand, you look at 494, and then you have the federal government coming back and saying, okay, we'll move from 30 to 60. So
to 48.
To 48 and then 60. So it doesn't even really make a difference. And like we were saying yesterday, 60,000 can't really buy, or you can't afford much.
You can't buy a bag of rice.
Yes.
Definitely.
That's the sad reality.
Yeah, you can buy a bag of rice. I mean, except you are asking people to... the first casualty when you are reforming in a manner that gets people desperate, that they can't afford anything. The first casualty will be sincerity and good citizenship. Because people will become desperate. People will want to cut corners. People will want to survive at all costs. So no matter how you are calling people to brotherhood, people are saying that I can't feed.
Yes.
I can no longer send my kids to school. I can no longer... Somebody was telling me the other time that the amount of money spent on energy and fuel is now more than his own rent in a year. Yeah. And it's a struggle. The other time I saw a woman in, I can't remember which of the northern states, says that the amount that it will... They asked her, why is your kid coming to school late every day? It says, because I have to walk him to school every day. Because the amount that we will spend on Korope, the Kekemaru and all those things, on a monthly basis or per session is more than the school fees. And that there's no way that I can cope. So, these things are real.
They are.
We can't sugarcoat it.
See, would I say, the real conversation really is, should it be the amount of minimum wage at this point? I think it has to be more geared towards tackling you know, the sustainability aspect of whether or not you get 60,000, would you be able to sustain that if inflation is going, you know, skyrocketing at this point? I mean, we need to be able to have conversations around over-bloated government. I was speaking with somebody.
That's the key thing.
Yes, that's the key thing. You know, I was speaking with somebody, they were saying, you know, the moment where the ministers or the National Assembly were getting all these cars, Labour should have been out on the streets protesting when the people were flying and you know, wasting all our resources on unreasonable.
They raise concerns.
They should be out. They should have been out on the streets protesting against these measures that are causing this high inflation and high cost of living crisis.
I agree, but you know, I would say that a lot of reasons why people think that Labour is not going to stick to their guns on this issue, it's also because they have waded into issues that we would not say are primarily of the Labour concern, right? And so even though we need them to focus on wages, because that is what they can really focus on when it comes to Labour. They can't focus on our fiscal side, they can't focus on our tax side. What we need to do is actually hold our federal government into account.
Yes.
We spoke about the Orosai report, everybody got excited, but yet we still have the biggest cabinet in our history.
How many weeks more, by the way, on the Orosai?
Yeah, well, that was clearly a distraction.
But you know, we keep talking.
We're not there yet, right?
We're not there yet.
12 weeks. How many weeks? 12 weeks we're given.
Is it up to 12?
That's what I'm asking. I think
we're in June now.
We've been having this
we're
conversation.
6 months into
Clearly,
2024.
Yeah.
However, like for me, it's there's a lot of posturing, and you know, people have spoken about the national anthem or changing the national anthem as a distraction because they don't. The presidency might not want us to focus on their scorecard. But when you ask, okay, what are we distracting from? Then we see the other bills that are going through our National Assembly right now. There is a lot that has to do with constitutional amendments. Very significant bills. There's a lot that has to do with electoral reform and making sure that election tribunals are voted on and decided on before a president or a governor is sworn in. These are critical issues, right? But I would say when it comes to this Labour issue, you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. You want, you know, and you also, and we spoke about this when the president offhand comment saying that, oh, if they want to run for election, they should wait to 2027, right? So on this, I would say good luck to
Okay, a worker deserves his wages, but let's hope that something concrete will come out of this. Before we go to this star, I think an important story that we need to focus on is on top of the lead into this day. South Africa's election ends 3 decades of ANC dominance. There's a South African angel in the house.
South Africa's ANC has definitely lost, 30-year parliamentary majority after election, and their shares dropped to 40%, forcing it now to seek coalition partners to form their government. And this it's very interesting times, because I know a lot of people I was talking to over the weekend were just kind of holding their breath, waiting to see what was going to happen. I mean, we've seen a sharp decline in how much percentage that the ANC has since Nelson Mandela's time till now, and it looks as if they've eventually been, they basically now have to share. And with more than 99% of the votes already being counted, the once dominant ANC will short of its majority, and basically
they won't get 50%.
They definitely won't.
So that means that there will be a beautiful bride or beautiful brides that the ANC will need to court.
And I'm definitely trying to see. I wonder if it's going to be MK Umkhonto we Sizwe, because
that's Jacob Zuma's, no?
That is Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma was a former president under the ANC.
He did pretty well, coming third.
He did very, very fantastically well. He's also beaten Malema, who was formerly third on the EFF. And I find it so fascinating because Umkhonto we Sizwe was part of the ANC. During the struggle, they were the paramilitary wing. Now they've been able. There is now its own party. They even sued Jacob Zuma because he used the logo and the name, and he was like, I was Umkhonto we Sizwe. But it does show that politics can't, apart from the minor issues when it comes to the elections, it does show the value in actually believing in your electoral system, right? Because South Africans fully believed that their votes will count.
58% turnout.
Yes.
Far more impressive than any West African election.
And the opposition parties themselves have also hailed this result as a momentous breakthrough for the country that, of course, is struggling with poverty and inequality. And for some reason, ANC remained the biggest party for a long time. And like you said, with the 50,
they are still the biggest.
Absolutely. I guess the biggest party in a long time, still in power.
Yeah.
But now, with this 58% turnout, like Adesuwa said, it's really giving the South African people. I think I should go back there to find out exactly how the people feel.
I'll definitely follow you on that journey.
Parliamentary votes needed to elect the president. They can't get that unless they shop around. Will it be DA? DA is whitish, isn't it?
So DA is the white party. You know, some people do think that it's a bit racist. People do say that Umkhonto we Sizwe. So you have, I see the four main parties are the DA, MK, EFF, and the ANC.
Absolutely.
The ANC being the biggest. However, MK, Jacob Zuma's party, most of their power sits in KwaZulu-Natal, where Jacob Zuma is from. The EFF is seen as maybe very anti-white. So I think the DA, who might not want to work with the ANC, might feel like it's a better opportunity.
Do you think that there'll be
for
surprises?
them. I think we will see some surprises.
For vice president now?
Oh, no, I don't think.
Clearly, the ANC is significantly weakened at this point. So, hopefully through the next election, they have to either, form a new party or find more ways to make sure that they get back in power for the next election. Well, hopefully final results will trickle in by the end of
midnight-ish.
Today.
By midnight-ish.
So we'll see what happens. Well, let's have it over to This Day Style now. The cover picture there is Akintunde Rotimi Jr., a man on the cover, man on a mission, Speaker for the House. Akintunde is a young Nigerian parliamentarian, public policy development and strategic communication professional, currently serving as the honorable member of the Ekiti North 1 constituency. He holds the position of spokesman for the 10th Assembly and is the chairman of the House Special Committee on Media and Public Affairs. I'd love to read more about his story.
That's cool.
I always love to see a man on the cover.
All right. I think there's an interesting story in today's Daily Trust. If you haven't got any other story, yes, the minimum wage thing is the lead in practically all the papers, but there's an interesting story in today's Daily Trust saying 1 year after, federal government yet to implement national language policy in schools, and the riders, parents, pupils await mother tongue usage. Students will excel with local languages. That's according to experts. It's a gradual process, government. You know, when government says it's a gradual process, it doesn't look at anything is being done. But I like the fact that Daily Trust is shedding light on this and, calling people out. Minister of Education, whoever they are, Chief of Staff, SGF, take a look into it. You've done well with the student loan scheme, 1 year after, at least it's on stream. Let's look at this, the implementation of the national language policy in schools. I think that it is very important. Part of why the Asian countries are doing well, research has shown, is because, their indigenous languages are being used to teach people in schools, to teach sciences, etc. I think it was Professor Fafunwa in those days that tried it, with mother tongue, I think, in schools in Nigeria.
It would be easier for the teachers as well.
They couldn't even get the teachers, to be able to do that. But there's a policy in place, and it is for the government to look for ways to get it done. This is what this story is trying to say, and I commend the editors of Daily Trust, for highlighting this important part of what will make our brotherhood and the compatriots in Nigeria, to rise to the occasion. Any other paper before we leave?
I was going to say the leadership on Sunday, but just because of a very important story that's also on this day, which is about the CBN amendment. So the leadership says CBN amendment bill will undermine banks' authority. And, there has been, the story is also on this day saying that, the senators are
that they're stepping down.
They're stepping
down. That's
on
the window. On the,
yes, the independence of the Central Bank of Nigeria is something that is incredibly important. and should not be, toggled with, especially for political reasons. So
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a very important story, and we
Yeah.
need to keep our eyes on the CBN.
All right. Well, I
Shaitan,
guess
any
this
quick
is-
one from you?
No, I think that's a.
Do you have any
Yeah.
paper?
No.
You have 20 seconds. You can use
Oh
it.
my goodness. Okay.
But not to worry. I think that
I think this is where we've had a robust conversation, especially with the South African elections,
Oh, yeah.
which we keep our fingers crossed for them, and it's a new time, a new era for the
Yeah.
South Africans who are also calling for a new constitutional
course.
change, a constitutional amendment, which I
30
hope
years of
they
democracy.
get.
Yeah. Will there be inauguration?
I mean, we
30
have
years.
25, they have 30.
Shaita, will there be inauguration moves to South Africa, to Pretoria?
I would love to hold down for a rise. This is my official petition. But yeah.
Don't worry, you'll
I'll
get
definitely follow you as a South African historian.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, I guess
Excellent.
this is where we end our newspaper review today.
Absolutely.
A fantastic segment.
Thank you, everyone.